I think that the trajectory is one of broad easing into the late second quarter and third quarter. The question is, will these lockdowns be reinstated if there is a second wave, which is the fear right now? Personally, I don't think so. I think these lockdowns come with massive economic, social, and political costs for the countries in ASEAN. And when you look at countries like India, Indonesia, Brazil, they are proceeding with easing of lockdowns despite their COVID-19 numbers continuing to rise. I think we've reached a point of like lockdown fatigue for many countries where the economic cost is just too painful to bear. So I think even if there is a second wave, if there is a return of lockdowns, there would not be a broad nationwide lockdown, but they would be much more targeted to try to minimize the social and economic impact of those lockdowns.
So you like the property and the consumer sector in the Philippines and infrastructure and logistics in Vietnam. Could you be more specific about what are the themes that you particularly like within those spaces?
Sure. I mean, in the Philippines, it's really a question of interest rates coming down very sharply. We've had dramatic interest rate cuts in the Philippines over the last 12 months. And that's very good for property demand and mortgage demand, especially for the Philippines, where it's coming from a very low base. And there's a huge, sort of a latent demand for residential properties without that oversupply concerns you see in some countries like Malaysia and Thailand. And consumer there as well. We're talking about consumer staple stocks like URC, which we think will continue to do well despite the COVID-19 issues. In Vietnam, this is a sort of a play on the whole relocation of supply chains out of China. All of ASEAN should benefit. I would say the Sing banks in particular would be one proxy for that in terms of financing, advisory, etc. But in Vietnam, that has been the most tangible beneficiary, I guess, of this trend. You're seeing a huge inflow of FDI, and that's really straining logistics and infrastructure in Vietnam. So the investment case there, we think, is very clear, and it is quite neutral to COVID-19 issues.